Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Soccer Watch. David got on a beautiful Tuesday morning. I actually thought it was Monday. That's how out of it I am. Tom's phone is ringing off the hook right now. I heard it the entire time we were waiting for the music to come down.
Sorry.
As it is scoop season, it's ice cream shop season, and you fortunately have a little extra to work with from an ice cream shop point of view as you are snowed in to 19 inches of New Jersey fresh powder.
Hell yeah, and it's no longer powder. It is just ice now. Did a lot of shoveling on Sunday, and listen, I'm just blessed with the opportunity to get better every day. Put on the hard hat, take the lunch pail outside, and go shovel 4 times during the day. Jokes aside, I do like snow because it is now brick cold. And
in Brick, New Jersey?
Yeah, when it's like single degrees or like feels like single degrees and there's not snow on the ground, I just think it's cold for no reason. So I'm happy to have the snow here, as long as it doesn't imperil anybody. And the roads are fine. Everything's good, so we're all good.
Yeah, I mean, the temperature took a huge dip this morning, so it's 50 degrees when I went outside to walk to work with my wife, and now I think it's up around 66. So I think we're both going through a similar experience right now, and I think it's good for both of us to really persevere through this.
Soft.
I know, but I do miss the snow. I miss the cold. I hope everyone's doing fine. Saw some epic videos. Did I see Sean White went snowboarding in Central Park, like with the mask on, and no one knew?
He jumped over Shane Gillis.
That's pretty crazy. So I don't know. Snow's always fun. It's always a fun time to be around, and it lets Tom just be in the lab, baby, and just cook and cook. So we've got a lot to talk about on this show. Massive transfer for Alex Freemen heading to La Liga from Orlando. NYCFC, 2 designated players have moved. 1 has been bought down. 1 is injured. So everything all over the map that we will get into. We've talked a lot about Inter Miami. They've been a central part of the offseason, and Montreal was like, we want to get involved too. So we got a little Montreal tie in there as well. RSL have started to make, it seems like, some big signings to add to their team, and we've got a lot of other. João Klaus has gone official as a transfer. I don't know if you've heard of Ricardo Pepi, but he might be a multi-million dollar transfer to the Premier League.
Is there a difference between multi and multi?
Yeah. Multi's like, 2, 3,
a couple,
4. Yeah, exactly. It's a couple versus Baker's dozen. Like, we're starting to push it. So we'll get into that, and we've got already a bunch of questions and comments in the chat that we will dig into as well. We've got a couple big shows coming up. Oh, we've got US Open Cup. We've got first round matchups announced. 32 pro versus amateur setups that we are very, very excited about. Obviously, my eyes immediately go. Vermont Green is hosting Portland Hearts of Pine. My buddy texted me, asked what I was doing on that fateful Tuesday in March. So maybe I will get to experience the snow and cold there once again. We've got some big shows coming up over the next few weeks. We're going to start digging into our season preview action. So we have our over-under show with Matt Doyle that we're going to be recording soon. We've got the Golden Boot draft. We've got predictions coming up. We've got a Soccer Wiser on the docket on Thursday. Bobby Warshaw and Matt Doyle will be joining you and me as we both get shamed.
I'm still deciding if I'm just going to play it in character as an old school football coach.
And that's you playing Biff, the defensive coordinator, or is that you playing Tony Poulos? Which old school football coach are you in that setting?
Either one works. Maybe I'll just weave between them both.
Okay. We could do that as well. Shout out to Michael Spillane in the chat who says, don't tell my boss I'm watching right now. I got stuff I should probably be doing.
Linebacker?
Yeah, well, also shout out to Freddie Peralta and the New York Mets. Sleepy David Stern's not sleeping anymore. So we've got a lot to dig in on this show. Before we get into it, this show, we love sports. We love talking about soccer. It's escapism for everyone. So we like to try and stick to those topics. But people in our community are hurting right now, so we just want to take a moment. I've got a lot of friends on the ground in Minnesota right now who are having a really tough time, and it's our platform, and I want to take a chance to tell them they're not alone, to say that we all really feel for them, and that we will do anything we can to try and help. So to just reach out and let us know, and for anyone listening to this who we don't know personally, you have our support as well. and really, really terrible things that are going on right now for a great place, a place I've spent a lot of time, a place where technically I'm an owner of Minnesota Aurora, as technically as you can get, as big a technicality as humanly possible. But obviously a place that I'm very tied to, very passionate about, and it's one of the great places in the U.S. and in the world. And so hopeful for a better day coming up tomorrow.
Yeah. The things that we're seeing, the things that are happening, I can't believe it's happening in Minnesota in the United States. It's heart-wrenching, just awful. I'm at escape for words. I'm not intellectual enough to have, a more technical breakdown or a more, I guess, fancy breakdown of how all of these things are going. It just breaks my heart. And we stand firmly side by side with the people of Minnesota, with the people of all communities that are being impacted by just these inhumane terribleness, raids, everything else. It's I don't know, unrecognizable to our country. There's just a lot of stuff going on, inhumane, rotten. But while things feel bleak, while you can feel some sense of numbness to it all, there's a silver lining. I'm particularly watching the people of Minnesota, that community showing up for each other. It's amid a nightmare, but don't forget, there's still good people out there. Don't lose hope. It's negative 20 degrees in Minnesota, and you can't see a speck of the street from all the people coming out to support their community members. And again, just there are good people out there. Don't lose hope. Our good friend Jeff Reuter lives in Minnesota, loves that place. A very, very proud Minnesotan. He wrote just an incredibly weighty, emotional, well-written piece for The Guardian about the situation, how it ties into soccer. And I encourage you all to read that. And trying to transition very, very lightly here, Jeff, Pablo Maurer, Ella Brockway are our new signings for The Guardian, for Alex Abnos's Guardian. Congratulations to our friends, three of the absolute best writers that we have in this country. And that side of things is a great day for the people in our soccer community that these people are going to have such a big platform, such a platform with pedigree for these awesome soccer writers. And I know Jeff and Pablo can do a lot of great stuff. I know Jeff would rather be writing about overlapping fullbacks and quality of
data
crosses
analysis and USL's
and
potential future.
Pablo would rather be writing about a photo he found of Pele riding a horse in a soccer stadium. So I know that's what these people would rather be doing, but just happy for them.
Yeah, echo everything you said, and also go read The Guardian and support it. We need good independent journalism now more than ever, and I think The Guardian's the best that does it. The three you mentioned, Ella was on this show to help preview the NWSL Championship. We were really lucky to have her, and we've both known Pablo and Jeff for a while, and they do as good a work as anyone out there. So definitely follow all of them, and definitely go and read the work they do and The Guardian across all topics, but especially across soccer. And now we will go into the thing that we know the most about, which is soccer. And let's start in Europe, which is one thing we rarely do. But the European transfer window closes on Monday, February 2nd. So we are approaching the end of that, which is why any sales moving out of MLS are going to start to come fast and furious. Coming in is still open. Although, as you have told us over and over again, the ability for teams to replace players goes away. And so I think over the next week, we should feel like a lot of moves are going to come through. And one of the biggest ones we will probably see came down the pike this weekend, which was Alex Freemen from Orlando City, young U.S. men's national team already, fullback, one of the best players in the league this year, one of the best young players in the region, sold to Villarreal, Tom, in a big-time move for him and for the club.
Yeah, as I broke last night, sources say that Villarreal and Orlando City have agreed to terms over a deal for Alex Freemen to join the La Liga club immediately. I'm told it's a fee worth around north of $4 million, plus another $3 million-ish in add-ons, plus crucially a sell-on clause for Orlando City. Alex Freemen is out of contract in 11 months. Orlando has tried to get him to sign a new contract with U22 initiative slots. They've tried to do what they could at this point. His heart was set on Europe. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, if this move did not happen now, he's signing with Villarreal for free in 11 months.
Yeah.
So for me, this fee, given where we are right now, this fee is really well done by Orlando. What I was told, and I have been told throughout this process, is Alex Freeman, this is his boyhood club. He loves this club. He wanted the club to get a fee. He didn't want to leave for free, but he's obviously balancing his own future and everything else. So this is a win for all parties for this to happen the way that it is right now. Of course, you can say, should Orlando have tried to get a contract extension sorted for him last winter? That's the argument. But Alex Freeman had played 4 first-team appearances before last year. It's incredible what his rise was over the last 12 months. And I think that he's ready to play minutes at Villarreal. Villarreal obviously believe it. They've been long-term fans of his. He went from nowhere near the senior USMNT national team radar. He's obviously a talented kid. Breaks in, becomes one of the best right backs in the league. By the summer, he gets his USMNT debut. And then he appears in each of the last 12 games over 2025. Now it's not about, is he going to make the World Cup squad? Is he going to be a starter? And I'm extraordinarily happy for Alex Freeman. So well deserved. And again, I do think well done in this moment by Orlando to get the deal that they are getting right now, up to $7 million plus a non-insignificant sell-on clause. Pretty good work for a player who I can tell you pretty much certainty was leaving for free in 11 months if they did not do this week.
Yeah, and that sell-on clause huge because if the performance at a World Cup for him increases the interest in him and he ends up moving again, Orlando is still tied to that. Orlando is still connected to that. And with some of the moves we're talking about, like Ricardo Pepi, we're going to get into the numbers you're talking about for some of these moves around Europe. The sell-on percentage could be more for Orlando than what they get in total on this move, but it's all still money coming into the club. It's all still value. And this is the point. Like, you build a developmental pipeline, you push players through, and then the money you bring in will help fund the developmental pipeline on one side, and on the other side can help you replace that player, increase the quality in your first team squad. And for Orlando, it's a big loss. Like, he was an impact player really quickly last year. He changes the shape of a game, his ability to stretch the field, his ability to come inside and challenge players, his comfort in possession. All of that is like game-breaking stuff that an MLS team is probably not going to spend money on the right back position and be able to get again. But as you said, the timeline is what it is. He was going to leave for nothing. You get a decent chunk of money for the team here. There's potential for more going forward. He's happy with the experience. And I think overall, and this is in saying they've had some weird things like a Duncan McGuire, I think overall Orlando has proven that they can take care of players and that they can help develop their careers and they can help them continue on the path they want to. And Orlando's in a little bit of a dogfight in the region they're in to get the best young players, right? Miami is always lurking. You have FC Dallas that can pop in. You have Atlanta that can pop in. And those are just like close regional ones where it's fairly comfortable for a family to move to or for a player to move to. They're in some of those fights, and they've revamped their developmental pipeline over the last 5 years. I think Alex Freeman's like the best example of it, but they feel like they've got 4 or 5 more players coming up who could be the next ones. And you got to prove to those players, we are the right place to do this. We are the right place to help you get to your next step. Otherwise, you end up losing a player to an Orange County or whatever it is because they don't see the future for their team. So I think this is really, really big for the club. It's obviously huge for Alex Freeman. It's interesting. We've gotten a lot of feedback, as everyone sort of has, about this move of, well, I thought it would be after the World Cup. Doesn't he want to have playing time? Doesn't he want to be settled? I think the way you worded it, though, of like, he's definitely on the roster. And the question is if he's a starter. And one way he could prove he's a starter is being in the best form and potentially no one else being in better form. But if he goes and plays well at Villarreal, I think that's the easiest way to show Mauricio Pochettino that I've taken a step and I could be even a higher contributor. And the things that Dest does well, that a Freeman doesn't do as well in possession, coming inside, being able to develop a little bit deeper and being in possession comfortably a little bit deeper. This is the best way for Alex Freeman to prove that he can do that. And like, there should be 3 more World Cups on his horizon after this. And so I don't mind this move for him, even if there's not a clear line to 90 minutes every week for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, that should feel pretty good about his roster spot. Villarreal, Juan Foyth, defender. I believe he's a center back, but I think he can play right back too. He's out. Like, he's out for the rest of the year. So I think that probably informed it as well. And I want to be clear, I don't know this next sentence for like a fact sourced. I would have a guess that if Villarreal said, okay, we're going to give you this money, we're getting him now. Even if we're just having him in training, because like if he's staying with you until the summer, why wouldn't we just wait another 6 months after that
for
to sign
sure.
it for free,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I don't know that to be a fact, but that would make logical sense. In terms of Orlando's pathway as
Right.
well, you hit on it. They've done, I think, really, really well over the last several years. First of all, they, under Luis Muzzi and Ricardo Morera and their academy folks, they rebuilt that academy, and the academy is good, and the pathway is good now to Oscar Preja. Over the last few years, like they transferred Alejandro Granados to Club Bruges' second team from Orlando's second team.
Yeah.
Like before that, he got like, so the kid wanted that move, and they let him go. Even something like Ramiro Enrique, he was like 24 when he left last summer, but they let him go to the Middle East when like they could have been like really difficult about not letting him go. Daryl DK, they wanted to keep him, but they sent him to West Brom, right? Like this is a team that is fully matured in the world of youth development, in the world of buying and selling players, and I only think that that's going to get better and better under Ricardo Morera for what this team has done. And you just look at what they did with their U22 slots, two of them on two really talented, high expensive Brazilian players. Guess what? If everything works out, they're going to Europe. Like, they're not going to be here for a decade. Like, that's the whole point. So with Alex Freeman, they were boxed into a corner, like we said, with the contract and everything else. If he signed a new contract, he wasn't going to be here for 8 more years. Like, the idea would have still been for him to go to Europe. It would just be maybe in a little bit longer, or maybe with a better financial package for the team. But all in all, like, I give credit to Orlando, the front office, the coaching staff, to everybody for this and just generally the way that they've handled outbound transfers. But, at the end of the day, man, like, kudos to Alex Freeman. He got his chance. He'd been waiting for his chance, and what an awesome year and a great start to 2026 now.
So let's talk about Orlando on the field now without Alex Freeman. So reports, I'm sure from you, but I can't remember it now, signing Dusan Stojanovic, 25-year-old Serbian center back coming from the Polish league. That is on top of, we talked about Iago, potential U22 initiative center back coming from Flamengo in South America. To me, I think, and there's a hole at right back. So we had Alex Freeman with no backup in our depth charts, and now Alex Freeman is gone. To me, one of the things here is if you have center back filled, I wouldn't assume Bracalo's a left back. Like, he's neither. So I think there's a chance he could play right back. I think there's a chance if you're going to try an Ivan Angulo or Tyrese Spicer at fullback, why do they have to be a left back? They could be a right back. Neither of them are naturally fullbacks. And then Tahir Reed-Brown, who I think has a crazy high ceiling.
I like that kid.
Is naturally has been a left back. So maybe he starts there and you can push someone over, or you can try him on the other side. But I would assume they will find someone who is naturally right back. But I feel like there are answers on this roster that are not bad answers.
I think that's a great point, and I'm glad that you brought it up, right? Like, just because Brecalo was playing out of position at left back, why can't he do the same at right back, playing as a right-sided center back, essentially, rather than like a true kind of box-to-box type fullback, or end-line to end-line, I should say. So that's a good point. Ivan Angulo, like, that would make a lot of sense if they would put him at in defense, and particularly with a center back at the other fullback spot. So then and so that's kind of how they played this year, because you're starting a back four, but in possession, if David Brecalo is your left back, he's a left-sided center back, and then Angulo is the one that's in the channel the same way, or on the end line, the touchline, that the same way that Freeman is on the right. So in possession, it ends up as a back three either way. So for Angulo to start at left back in possession, it's not going to be much different than it was last year. But there's a couple tweaks that Oscar Preja can make. I would expect them to bring in a natural right back as well this winter, maybe 2. I don't know. But they're still working. So, again, you talked about Dusan Stojanovic, 25-year-old center back from the Polish league. One of the quick scouting reports I got on him was that, like, he's super athletic, and they like that his ability to cover space. And again, maybe that's somebody that could shuffle wide if needed. I don't know that for a fact, right? I've never watched this guy play. I'm not going to pretend like I have. But this is somebody who won the Polish league, somebody that they're high on. Signing this center back does not stop the potential deal for Brazil's U20 captain, Iago from Flamengo. I'm told that they're still working on that. He would be a U22. He'd fill their third U22 slot. And if doing a deal for Brazil's U20 captain center back after Internacional central midfielder Luis Otavio and Bahia forward winger Thiago was at least $4 million up to $6 million, something like that. Luis Otavio was like 3.5 million. Those are serious signings and really talented kids. And guess what? They still have a DP spot open after Luis Muriel left. So I think that things are looking. There's still more to do for Orlando, but things are in a good spot.
Yeah. If they are able to get the DP number 9 done with the right type of player, I think this could be the strongest Orlando City team going into the season that we've seen under Oscar Pereira. Like, they've had good teams in preseasons. There's been high expectations with the way Pasalic hit last year. And even though maybe I think I said like maybe a bit of an overpay on Brian Ojeda for this team, I do think you've increased your ball possession ability, which can also change the type of fullbacks you can use. But just if Stojanovic can start at a level that you expect at the center back position, and you're able to be a little more solid at goalkeeper with Maxime Crépeau, I think just the platform for this team is higher than what it's been for a really long time. And we've already seen Ojeda and Pasalic be really high level attackers for this group. So it should be an exciting time for Orlando fans. I don't think selling Alex Freeman should sully that in any way, even though he's a really special player. Let's go into the big ice cream shop and everything we've got to talk about. Let's continue with a big European potential transfer for a USMNT player. This time it's with Ricardo Pepi, Tom, that you've been pretty hot on the heels of.
Yeah, so reported on Sunday that Fulham submitted another bid to PSV. This one was 32 million euros after an initial bid of like 30 million euros. And on this weekend, I was told, listen, like this bid isn't going to do it, but they are much closer. The valuation, it's not a huge gap, which is positive for Ricardo Pepi. I think it's super interesting that their first bid came, I broke that. I forget if it was like New Year's Eve, something like that. Since then, he broke his forearm, had to get surgery, and he's out until mid-March. And Fulham was like, yeah, no, here's more money. We really want him. So I think that's
crazy to me.
But that bodes so well for like, this isn't a team being like, oh man, we just need a forward to try to finish 5th instead of 7th or whatever. Like, this is very clear that this is a long-term interest, and it doesn't hurt. Like, it's impressive, but then the other side of your Fulham, it's just like, yeah, like it's not like an Achilles or whatever, right? I don't want to downplay the injury because that looked painful as hell. But he'll still be able to like get a cat, like whenever he's able to move, like he can still do like aerobic stuff. Like he doesn't have to rebuild all the strength in his legs.
Yeah.
So the hope is that, and for his World Cup prospects of that, it shouldn't take as long as like a major knee injury to come back from. All of that is aside. Fulham continue to work on this deal. It's very fluid. Again, on Sunday, what I was told is that there's optimism that a deal happens. It seems like they were very close in evaluation of the PSV. Listen, if it went from 30 to 32 and then I was told it was close, I'm going to guess something like 35 million euros gets it done. But we shall see. And for a Premier League club that's in 7th or 8th, the money in the Premier League, another 3 million euros is not a stumbling block.
Yeah.
Like, this deal should get done if that's really what it is. So, again, I don't know every little detail that's left, but as we sit here on January 27th at 1:43 p.m. Eastern, just in case you're listening to this on a podcast and something changes in 3 hours, sitting here right now at this time, I'd be optimistic it gets done while cautioning there is no agreement yet, but things are trending in the right direction.
It is just wild, the career path that gets taken, the huge move to Augsburg, and then basically like considered a failure, finds his feet again in the Netherlands, moves to PSV, a little bit level up. And now the numbers we're talking about, if he pours in goals, there's a potential sell on, but like Fulham's paying this number. He is probably going to play for Fulham on this number, or something goes poorly and he leaves for less. Like, this is a move for this club this is the guy, and this guy can be our guy for a really long time. And I don't disagree with that. I'm a huge Ricardo Pepi fan. I'm a huge fan of what he does, but it's one of the things we talk about where I think for a lot of guys, I still think, depending on where you are in your developmental path, but you kind of just take the high move you can, and then you kind of find your feet after that. And like a lot of times we talk about like, well, it should be Belgium, mid-level, get comfortable in Europe and then work your way up. I think a lot of times it's like, go as big as you can. If you hang there, great. If you don't, have a plan and be comfortable pivoting within that to then find your feet at the European level and then see what happens. And sometimes that's coming MLS, right? Luca de la Torre at this point now, coming MLS. We don't know what the next 5 years looks like in his career. Georgi Mihailovic, Cole Bassett, like all these guys. But it just goes to show like the door's not closed, when you're 21 years old if you're not scoring goals for a crappy German Bundesliga team, but you still have to then figure out what the next step is. And Pepe's a special player. He's a clear, future replacement for Raul Jimenez. And his ability, I think, to just be that pure finisher on the end of things, but as shown with PSV, especially in transition, his ability to be part of build-up and help launch other players into the attack and then follow up as a second runner can be really, really special as well. And comes back healthy, switches to the Premier League, scores a couple of goals, will still be in the conversation with Mauricio Pochettino about the center forward spot. So that's a big move that we're tracking. Also, I'd assume Dallas still has something connected potentially for some sell-on stuff. So we'll get to that if it comes to be. But Tom, the big work this weekend was around NYCFC. Every single piece of the depth chart moving in and out. So walk us through where we stand right now with this club.
So NYCFC is finalizing a deal to sign forward Musa Silla from FC Schalke in the German second tier. Last year, I believe he had 16 goals. This guy is a center forward, can play on the wing though as well, which is important to this team. I'm told he will be a DP. The reports in Germany is that the fee is around or up to 6 or 7 million euros. I didn't hear any pushback on it. I don't know exactly how much is guaranteed, how much is not. This is a serious signing for the team, and I like the profile both in terms of his pedigree. He scored a lot of goals in the German second tier. He scored a lot of goals and assisted more in the French second tier. No, that is not the same as playing in the Bundesliga or Liga, but this is an international player, somebody who's. I talked to a scout of another MLS team, and they were like, "Damn, man, like last year, we really wanted to sign him, but it was just impossible." So there's people I trust who are talking about how good he is. He's an international for Mali, so he has that pedigree as well. And at 26 years old, this I guess sounds a little silly or overly simplistic, but there was a point where NYCFC, when they signed Nico Mercau, it was had to be a fight that he was 25. This team wants to sign U23 players, and that's it. This has been something that I've heard behind the scenes. So coming out with this open DP spot and signing a 26-year-old, this is a really good, really smart signing. But I feel the need to give them credit where credit is due, that it's not just a U23 players, right? And this is somebody who, if Alonso Martinez is here when he returns, or how much longer he's here when he returns from a torn ACL, because he would have been one of the guys I was monitoring very closely for a transfer to Europe if he didn't get hurt. He can play, Musa Silla can play wide. Alonso Martinez has played wide before, but I think it's very clear. Just play him at center forward. He's an elite level center forward in this league. So that helps too. It's really smart. And thirdly, even before Alonso Martinez comes back, the club loves Seymour Reed. 17 years old, academy graduate, Jamaica international. I believe he had 12 goals in 1,100 MLS Next Pro minutes. He gets into the first team. He scores his first MLS goal in very limited minutes last year. They can't load him with 2,500 minutes this year, or expect that out of him at 17 years old. But they also don't want to block him. So signing a DP center forward because you need that, but also he can play on the wing if Seymour Reed earns his minutes. I really, really like the signing for NYCFC. And housekeeping on this in terms of the roster rules, Thiago Martins is being bought down from a DP. He will be a TAM player this year. Talles Magno is back from loan from Corinthians. He's got cornrows? Why am I braids? He's got braids, not the afro. New year, new him. Remember, this was a high-level MLS player as a winger, and Nick Cushing broke him by trying to make him a center forward. And then he was benched, and then he's been gone. I don't know if he'll be the same high. Sporting directors around the league was that's a Champions League level player at left wing. I don't know if he's going to hit those heights or not, but I'm excited to see him under Pascal Jansen.
If we had to, I don't know, because I don't know how to do any of this, set odds, pick a thing, whatever. More likely than not, Talles Magno plays for NYCFC in February or March of 2026.
I think that's very likely.
Okay. The odds are that he's going to stick and stay.
Listen, and again, I'll be careful as well, because I try not to be too definitive on things unless I know for sure.
Yeah.
Just because of how fluid things are. But I was told, he's in preseason, he's in the team, he's planning. They are planning for him to be here, rather than being I don't know. So that's what I'm expecting. If he does indeed, I'm expecting, his performances the first half of the year and his level of happiness will determine if that question was on July 1st. I would have no idea.
Right.
But I think March 1st, yeah.
Well, I'm in the bag for Talles Magno. I love Talles Magno. He's awesome to watch play. Silky, smooth, takes guys on 1v1. I think when you watch a lot of Musa Silla as well, loves when players come in tight on him. and takes players on 1v1, super comfortable in the middle third, like not just a final third guy, as you mentioned. That's where you say he could go out wide and play there. And I would say he doesn't have the success at Ligue 1 or that first division level. So we're talking about a lot of second division performance and production. But like Denny Bouanga bounced between League 2 and League 1 in France. And he put up numbers a little bit in Ligue 1 with Saint Etienne, but like a lot of his great seasons were League 2. So we have a little bit of background of other players coming from that level and being able to perform in MLS. I would assume not at that high of a level, but still there's a little bit of background of saying just because that's where you're playing most of your minutes does not mean you can be helpful in Major League Soccer. Thiago Martins being bought down, I think, is big in that. He's one of the better center backs in Major League Soccer. I don't know that you can build a great, successful team with that amount of cap hit at that position. And I think NYCFC's reasoning was, okay, fine, he's there. That's because we've got all these under 22 initiative attackers. So they're going to play at a DP level. And none of that happened over the last few years. Now you've got a little bit more experience in this team. You have Pascal Jacen, who's got a little bit more of a feel for the group he has. I think for NYCFC fans, besides the playoff run last year, which maybe at times was against the ball a little more than they would like it to be, there should be a lot of hope that they're moving in the right direction. And it feels like they're looking at holes from last year and getting better rather than just looking at the overall future sale and cap sheet and all that stuff and say, how do we run the perfect, grid and all that?
No, it's a good way to put it. And there's a couple questions in the chat as well that was talking about, can you buy down? I don't believe that it's possible to buy down Talles Magno.
I mean, wasn't he a $10 million buy?
Yeah, so that I don't think over the life of this contract that it's even possible at all, because I mean he has signed like bumper extensions of like, all right, we'll let you go on loan for a year, but as is commonplace in the entire globe, we'll sanction the loan if you extend your contract by a year so that you just don't run down your contract. I don't know how that impacts the transfer fee, but again, what I was told is these are our 3 DPs this year. So I think that's what it's going to be. And then when you look at U22 slots, Julian Fernandez, sources say Rosario Central has agreed a deal to sign him from NYCFC. Deal includes a purchase option. Jovan Mijatovic, I think, is still technically on NYCFC's books. I know he's on loan. But those two players
is Alexandru Mitrica still on the roster?
He's not walking through that door. Angelino ain't walking through that door. Yango Herrera ain't walking through that door. So I know that Jovan Mijatovic doesn't count as U22. I'm assuming that Julian Fernandez won't on loan, but again, I don't know that for sure. Either way, Augustin Ojeda is their U22 player, so they could still sign another U22 if they want.
Yeah. It's a good question, by the way, in the chat, which is Justin Hack and like his impact. He's an interesting one where we talked about him as a high-level free agent addition for a lot of teams, but there's actually not a clear hole that he leaves. They lose depth, they lose flexibility, but in theory, Raul Gustavo should be a starter in this team at center back alongside Martins. Aiden O'Neill being there for the full year helps as well. And I don't know. Every year we are hopeful that Keaton Parks can play soccer and do it however comfortably he can, because he's one of the best players in the league when he's healthy, and you're hopeful there. But if not, this is a NYCFC team that not only will they continue to make moves and whatnot, they also will entrust young kids. Johnny Shore got chances at 17 years old. I wouldn't be shocked if Maxi Carrizo is on the road to getting chances as well. Malachi Jones got chances as a rookie. He's now back from injury. Like, there is a lot of depth in the academy for this team coming through the second team of players that can get opportunities as well.
I want to add too, I spoke with NYCFC sporting director Todd Donovan. Story should be coming at some point soon. One of my favorite quotes from him, because like when you talk about, he's like, yeah, first of all, he was like, Pascal Jacen has impressed a lot of people around the league, obviously myself included. The working relationship between those two is strong to begin with. Because I kind of asked of like, listen, I don't mean this in any with any negative connotation, but just like you're inheriting a head coach around the world, not just in this sport, but all sports. Like you see, sport director hires a manager, right? And he goes, I love Pascal. Like he's like he's a top 5 coach in this league. Like I feel comfortable saying that. And then talking about the youngsters and stuff, like I was asking about it like that, and he goes, we have a manager who's not afraid to play players regardless of age. He goes, whether you're 17 or you're 38. And then he just starts talking about Maxim Rouse. And then it reminded me, look, dude, 37-year-old Maxim Rouse, there's not enough good things to say about him. He started every single game for this team last year.
It's crazy.
Well, he's such a fucking legend, man. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Also, his professional soccer career is longer than Johnny Shore's age. Like he not just, oh, you've been around, you could be his father, whatever. He has played the professional game for longer than Johnny Shore is of age. Is
Good
like
player, though, too.
absolutely insane. So I think a lot of excitement for NYCFC fans. We've got some people in the chat asking about Toulouse stuff. So let's get to a little Jacen Russell-Rowe here.
Yeah, so Toulouse has made a bid of worth around $2 million plus add-ons to the Columbus Crew for Canadian international forward Jacen Russell-Rowe. I'm told that bid hasn't been accepted yet. Jacen Russell-Rowe is out of contract in 11 months, so this is a really strong valuation for this bid. I'm told Russell-Rowe wants this. Russell-Rowe has not been a regular star. He's been used by this team. He scored goals. He's been productive, but Wessam Abu-Ali is unquestionably their starter. We don't know exactly what combination Henrik Rydstrom is going to prefer in attack, because you could play Diego Rossi centrally, you could play him wide, whatever, right? Like, there's a world, I suppose, that Jacen Russell-Rowe and Wessam Abu-Ali can start a lot of games together. I wouldn't bank on it if I was Jacen Russell-Rowe, right? But more to the point, I know he wants to go to Europe, and I know he wants his Toulouse move, and if this doesn't get agreed soon, Toulouse has to move on to other targets because they've got 5 days left in the transfer window. So I'm really curious to see how this one would go, but this is a fair bid to me, Goss. I don't know.
It feels crazy to me that Columbus wouldn't be signing on the dotted line. $2 million for a player who's not a full-time starter for you, who could sign a pre-contract in the summer, seems like a no-brainer, especially for a team that has like operated pretty freely in the transfer window. He's a good player, but we thought he would step in and be more dominant last year with Cucho leaving and getting more time. That didn't happen. So I don't know where you think that's going to happen this year. And if that's not going to happen, you're not spending $2 million on depth. So why would you walk away from this deal? It seems crazy to me if that is the bid, that he is not playing for Toulouse by the end of this week, because I don't know. So. I don't know where Columbus could say no to this. And yeah, it puts them in a little bit of a tougher spot to try and replace him. But again, you wouldn't spend $2 million if you're with a Columbus Crew for the next Jacen Russell-Rowe. So I don't know that you can turn it down and walk away from it. That goes with another young MLS player you wanted to talk a little bit about, which was Diego Luna.
Yeah, so there's interest from Espanyol and Celta Vigo. That's been longstanding. That's been previously reported by myself and I believe others. But they've checked back in. Nothing went. There was nothing. I don't even know if it got to RSL, but like it's been clear that RSL like don't want to sell this winter. So very, very unlikely that he leaves before the end of the window. And RSL are not only expecting but welcoming bids in the summer, because that's been their whole stance for the last 12 or 18 months in wanting him to stay here through the World Cup, have a Real Salt Lake player for the United States at the World Cup, have him continue to develop and continue to play. Like, he's in a really good spot right now. But there still is real interest abroad, and I still expect his future to be abroad. So he's not somebody that to watch over the next 5 days, but we'll talk again in the summer.
It will go along with RSL. They've started to get a little bit active, Tom, over the last few days.
Yeah. Where to start? Probably the DP. They are finalizing a deal to sign a winger, Morgan Juliavogi from Lens. RSL are playing out of the three at the back, so he would be in one of those like half spaces underneath the center forward, Victor Olatunji. This comes with Ron Cruz leaving. That opens a DP spot. Diogo Gonçalves, expecting him to, or maybe that's too strong. Both the club and Diego Gonçalves are ready for this mayor's end. Depends on if there's something that makes sense for everybody, right? Like I maybe expecting him to leave is too strong. The other side of that, I don't know if they'd sign a new DP right after that, right? All of this is fluid, depends on deals coming up, but like Morgan Juliavogi is their key attacking signing ahead of the season. It's good that they're getting this in now. He should be ready for opening day, pending visas and how long it takes. But if he's not, it wouldn't be very long off. This is a team that are looking to build and looking to add players. DeAndre Yedlin, I'm thinking, is going to be right center back, and Dominic Marchuk playing wing back. Was sold for some people who've been clued into preseason and around the team. That Marchuk is looking like the guy that we saw when he first arrived at Real Salt Lake.
What a crazy career path he has had. The fact that he's going to play wing back for RSL but didn't play it for Cincinnati is going to be, when they desperately needed it, is going to be wild.
And then they signed a central midfielder whose name I don't have in front of me, and that's listen, that's on me. I'm not too proud to admit that that's on me for not prepping better.
Spearings. Stijn. I don't really know what to do with that in Dutch. And then Spearings is his last name. A center mid, 29 years old, I think, from Brøndby.
Yeah. Yep. So they're adding to the central midfield group. Obviously, they traded. What am I blanking on the name again? This is tough for me.
Brian Ojeda.
Brian Ojeda. So I almost said Pablo Ruiz. Pablo Ruiz is still on the team. Still Pablo Ruiz. Now they're signing another central midfielder. McAnally's still there despite contract disputes and teams calling and making real bids. So we'll see how this team progresses. But Julevugi is the big signing in the attack, and they're shoring up the team and looking to keep building and hoping for a better outcome than last year.
I
ran out of steam there, didn't I? That was really, really tough.
There's been a lot of conversation of like, is this guy going to score goals? He's got 1 goal so far this season in Liga with Lens. He scored 7 last year with St. Pauli across a couple different competitions, 6 in the Bundesliga, 2 goals the year before, 1 goal the year before that. And then his big seasons came in Ligue 2, which we just talked about a little bit around the NYCFC signing. So like, it's not a perfect track record. I don't think RSL is going to get those players. Like, you got to find some gems there. You got to find guys you think will fit your system, and you got to try and get more out of players. But right now, one of the tough things with RSL is like, it doesn't feel like they're able to get players to stay there for very long. Even when guys are successful, and some of them make sense, U22 initiatives that have come in, Gomez, then you sell, fine.
Yeah.
But Diego Gonzalez like burned the house down 7 months into being there. Jefferson Savarino got signed multiple times and still like demanded his way out. It just feels like it's been too consistent with that stuff. And so if I was RSL, I'm starting this conversation with like, who wants to be here? Who is reliable? Who can we build around? Because the Xavier Gozos of the world are talented and they can be difference makers. They just need some veteran support.
Yeah, Gozo's not going to be here for 12 months, right? That's another guy that to keep an eye on. I don't know if I'd be surprised, I think, if he moves in the next 5 days. But I'd tell you, if he's here February 1st next year, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
And that's not a negative. That is a huge positive for ourselves. To your point, Gus, it's more about the top end of the roster. And I'm trying to separate. Listen, every player deserves the benefit of the doubt, and you don't want to just sit like but the track record here is this club tried to sign a DP forward literally all of last offseason and came up empty because they, at the end of the window, pinned all of their hopes in Boavista.
Yeah.
In the summer, they bring in Ruan Cruz, who sucked and is already gone. Victor Olatunji, really good deal to not get him on a DP, so I'll give them a grace for that. But like, that's also why I'm saying, like, I don't expect them to replace Diogo Gonçalves if he leaves, because we've watched this too much.
Right.
We've watched them say that they want to sign a player, and it's took too long. Diogo Gonçalves as well stunk. Like, he's not been good. He's been a failure, right? So I hope that they get it right with Julevugi, but I think that's just kind of informing where I sit on this team, where it's just like, yeah, like, obviously you love Diego Luna, I really like McAnally. There's some other pieces I like this team, but like, if Julevugi stinks, this team is in real big trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So fingers crossed for RSL fans that it's different.
Were you not ready for me to actually nail dismount and not peter out at the end there?
I wasn't ready for what direction we were going for, and I didn't get if this guy stinks hard right to finish on that part. I wasn't prepared for. Yeah. I took a dance lesson on Saturday.
Is that why your back is screwed up?
No, my back is screwed up because I'm a mess of a human being and I'm falling apart. I ran the longest distance I've run in probably 12 years, maybe 15, in training for a half marathon, and I felt great. I finished backtracking, waving to my wife, being like, this is awesome. Like, that was the 8.5 miles. You know what I mean? Like, literally turned around, running backwards, being like, I'm good. Wake up 2 days later, can't move.
Oof.
Those are the spirits playing games, you know? I shouldn't have spit in the face of the running spirits, being like, "Oh, look at me! I'm in better shape now. I feel okay."
You should have just had a Michelob Ultra and did some stretches.
Exactly. But my salsa dancing class, the instructor was very firm and I would do something wrong, and then she would say the right thing, like at me, like stare me in the eyes and be like, and we're on the beat, right? And we're on the beat and we're moving with it because we're dancing, right? And I was like, I'm the worst one at this. This is not a good finish for me. Okay, let's move. We've got Ethan Horvath. We've talked about a little bit. Headed to the New York Red Bulls. Another goalkeeping move, Tom. Biggest move of the offseason for you. You get to cover one of Liverpool's owns, who I believe is probably a legend for you because every single player is a legend.
Listen, we're never walking alone here, mate.
Exactly.
FC Cincinnati.
But no one's bigger than the club.
Finalizing a deal to sign Poland youth international goalkeeper Fabian Mrozek from Liverpool. Reported this with Big Game James Pierce. Was happy to do that after reading him for a long time. Anyway, that's just about me. He's a 22-year-old. He was on loan at non-league or National League Forest Green at the end of last year. He's coming in to compete to be the backup to Roman Celentano, and obviously they think that has some talent. But I want to be clear,
that club just got mentioned on this show.
That what?
That club just got mentioned on this show.
But he's played for Liverpool's second team. He's played for Liverpool's U19 team. From the people, this obviously secondhand, but from the people around, like Liverpool, like, yeah, he's been a really good servant for the club. We're happy for him. Like, there's a purchase option in this. Like, he's been on loan a couple times. We're like, yeah, I hope that this is his home or whatever, right? It's like, so he leaves with like really good kind of character ratings from around the club. But again, like, this isn't meaning that Roman Celentano's job is under threat. This is like, they sent Paul Walters on loan, academy graduate to Bohemians in Ireland. And so this is a third goalkeeper. They still have Evan Laurel on the books as well. We'll see exactly, if maybe this kid will get some time with the second team as well, or if he's just going to really just be with the first team, and then sit on the bench behind Celentano, maybe get a couple games. But this is to supplement the room, not to create a goalkeeper controversy.
Okay, Tomas Aviles. We talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago, that Inter Miami had 4 U22 initiative players. They were going to need to 4 or 5. 4. They have 4.
Yes,
and they have 3, and they have 3 DPs. I don't know why I can't figure that out on the top of my head.
How are we doing? Are you having a stroke?
Potentially. So they were going to have to move off one. We talked about it. Segovia and Aviles were the 2 obvious ones. Aviles, the one they would have wanted. Segovia, the one other teams would have wanted. And they were going to have to find someone to help make the move work. And guess what? They found a partner. As Montreal is going to take Tomas Aviles on loan. Tom, talk us through this a little bit.
So, do you want the unserious joke or the serious analysis first?
I don't care. I love both of it.
So, because I don't want to undercut it. I want to say I think that this is a smart roll of the dice by Montreal. I want to be clear. This is the most expensive center back defender in league history in terms of transfers, like $7 million. And if he doesn't give them anything, it's just a loan and a U22 slot. Like, this is a worthwhile roll of the dice. I really like it. The unserious side of things is I was told that something was getting close. I didn't know the club. And Paul Tenorio can confirm this. I was like, this 100% has to be Montreal. I have not heard that from a single source. I would be confident writing this right now saying it's Montreal without anybody telling me. And then 4 days later is when I found out it was Montreal and Paul, because it's their MO. And like, this is one of the things, like I'm saying this joke, this is one of the things they do really well.
Yeah.
Like, look at Dante Sealy, look at Alistair Johnson, Georgia Mihailovic. There's plenty more that I'm probably missing.
Not all of these are the same type of move. Not all of these are the same type of move that you just named, right? Dante Sealy was a minimum level player who came and tried out for the team. Alistair Johnson, they like spent a little bit on to go and get him and bring him in. I'm saying this one though is this is more in line with the move they made last year with the New England Revolution of like, yeah, we'll pay face value and we'll sort of bail you out of a tough spot you're in, because if it hits for us, it's great. And if it doesn't, we'll move on. My assumption is they pay his budget charge for the year.
I don't know the exact financial details. Okay. I know that he's a U22 slot for this team, so which alleviates that issue for Miami. And I think my point, and like, it has a purchase option. The purchase option ain't going to be $7 million
for sure.
Like, for sure. And again, it's a no. There's no obligation. So if he doesn't work out, then it's okay, and it's a worthwhile use of roll the dice on a talented player. And then again, we've been very critical of this player. I still hold true that like his first 6 to 12 months, he showed some really good signs. It's just that he hasn't developed at all. Like he's, in fact, I think gotten worse. Right. So if a change of scenery works for him, this is smart. And if it doesn't, then it's not like they spent a lot of assets into him. So again, I just didn't want it to come out like, as I do think it's funny that like, oh, this has to be a Montreal
Of course,
signing.
it's Montreal. Yeah.
But like, I like wild, like we're laughing about that. I don't like, I think
I
it's a
mean,
move for them.
The reality is Montreal is a dumpster diving team, and this is dumpster diving, and that can work out well for you. And sometimes it tastes really good. So that doesn't make it always bad. Tomas Aviles clearly had the yips playing with Inter Miami. So like that, as you said, change of scenery. I think one of the issues is he is not an elite physical player, and he has struggled with the mental side of the game, and he has struggled in possession. And so he can't physically overcome the mistakes he's been making. And if he can't clean up the mistakes, he's got no spot on the field. If he does, because the pressure shift a little maybe at Montreal, the environment shift, I don't want to say style shift, although because he played in so much possession with Miami. But the issue with Miami with him all the time was he was also out on an island because everyone is an attacking piece in that team. And so the defenders all defend 1v1 all over the field. And he lost a lot of those battles. It's a fine. I mean, look at Julian Carranza with Philly, right? That we said it like, take the gamble. Why not? I don't think anyone thought it was going to work out the way it did when Philly originally made that move. That's the hope here for Montreal. We'll see if it works out. Some stuff's gone official. We've already talked about Facundo Torres is headed to Austin. Amin Boudry is headed to LAFC as a U22 initiative player. That's like their fourth one, right? That locks them 2-4-2.
I don't know if it locks them, but I've been assuming 2-4-2 was the roster building plan.
Right.
So maybe it locks them, but from my understanding, that was the plan.
So most likely that takes off the idea of them going out and getting a third DP. David Martinez, Igor Jesus, and then Smolyakov are listed on our depth chart. I'm
really confident they like Smolyakov. He came from a team, like a mid-table or like lower division team in Ukraine where nobody spoke English. Like they had to have translators to do that deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the fee plus salary is not going to be prohibitive to keeping him on U222 forever.
Got it. But so that's some information on LAFC. And then Klaus has gone official, like right as we started this show. The final number is 2.375 million cash for Klaus from St. Louis to the LA Galaxy. So it opens up a DP spot for St. Louis. One they probably could have opened up anyway if they wanted to, but now they don't have to worry about it. It brings the $2.375 million into their books. And then Klaus heads to the LA Galaxy, where we now fairly much understand he has to be a DP for this year. It's the final year of his contract, and then they could potentially renegotiate in the future. So we talked about it a bit. Any other feelings around any of this stuff since it's happened?
No, it's just good to get all the clarity on all the things. I am still expecting St. Louis to bring in another forward, whether they use a DP spot or not, remains to be seen. And for the Galaxy, Greg Vanney wanted a new forward. He's wanted one for a bit, and now he gets one in Joao Klaus, who's productive when fit and healthy. And I think in this team, he will get the chances and he will score goals. So I think it's more about the minutes that he gets. And again, when you have Christian Ramirez, I think it's probably unfortunate for his playing time, though. I think that he would still score goals as well. They've got plenty of options now at center forward between those two and Nascimento. Nascimento can play as a winger. Christian Ramirez can play wider. Maybe not in the way that Greg Vanney and the LA Galaxy do. So it depends on what the exact game model ends up being. But like he was playing in the half channel for Columbus. Yeah. So again, I just think that those are three good players and three interesting players. At the very least.
This is to me like first 2-3 weeks of the season. This is if Galaxy are slightly healthy and Klaus is out there. This is one of the most fascinating storylines in MLS because he could straight up score 18 goals with this team, or he could have 20 goal contributions between goals and assists. Because I do think he could create a lot for the wingers on this team, somewhat replacing a little bit of what you lose with Ricky Puig. The other side of things, though, is if teams sit in against them, I don't know that he's helping you break that down anymore, which is what I've talked about. But if he's on this team next year with Ricky Puig, I love the idea of him getting out in transition, leading the break alongside Ricky, similar to what we saw with Peck and Payne still 2 years ago, but that is a long way away, and they have to fill it for this year. A little ad for St. Louis, so now they've got a hole at center forward. Simon Betcher and Caden Glover still the two on the roster, and then Rafael Santos, Rafa Santos, who's played in MLS now with Orlando, and Colorado is going to be signing a right back. Thomas Teutlin's there. This is a
Conrad Vollum.
Yeah, solid MLS piece. Not a game changer, and I think with St. Louis, we're still looking for the one or two big moves from them to sort of reset stuff under the new regime.
And if they're playing a back three, which I don't know if that's for sure. I don't know how much maybe that there's been some local reporting on that. But if they are set up to play back three, Rafa Santos as a left wing back, I like a whole lot more than Rafa Santos as a left back.
Yeah. Let's finish on some US Open Cup. We got the matchup. So March 16th, 17th. Nope, March 17th, 18th, and 19th are going to be the opening of the 2026 US Open Cup. The opening round, we get 32 games across the 3 days. Every single one is a professional side against an amateur side. So that's what we had last year. It's a really fun David and Goliath setup. I think it's the spark and spirit of what we all want it to be. USL League One obviously coming in that opening round, as is a number of USL Championship teams. There are some big headline matchups in all of this. I mentioned Vermont hosting Portland Hearts of Pine at the beginning, so that'll be the first matchup ever between the two sides in New England, who have become sort of two of the fan favorites, I think, around the world. There's some other fascinating ones in there as well. Indy 11 takes on the Des Moines Menace. We haven't heard from Sasha yet if he's going to run the whole thing back.
I think he said last year he was done.
Okay, so who will pick up his mantle though? Is Brian Rowe going to go out and pick up a couple big name DPs and have them come in? It's been really fun watching them do their thing. Some other big matchups across the world. I think or across the country. There's a Pittsburgh derby. So the Pittsburgh Riverhounds are playing a local amateur side, which could be a really cool matchup early in the season. Also to note, it's March 6th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. It could be freezing. When I was at US Open Cup opener in Vermont, it snowed. So I think some of these like Northeast matchups, some of these big cities in the North, like all that type of stuff, these could be freezing games, which would be really, really fun to watch. You've got some of the big teams back in this. Michigan Bucks are back in. They could be one of the big sides. El Farolito, of course, out in California as well. So there's going to be some fun matchups in here this opening round, Tom. And I think I would argue at this point, it's the best round because you get all amateur versus pro. You get to learn about a lot of these teams. You get a lot of fun stuff. It starts to get even more muddy now that we don't get full USL Championship, full MLS teams, of having like the clear each round potential upset stuff. I think this first round might be the most fun, and of course, all of it's streamed now.
Yeah. Shout out CBS Sports Golazo. Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Love to see that. No, this is a fun round. Like this is support your local. I've got that right over my shoulder. When I was at FC Monmouth versus Bulldogs SC in the qualifying rounds, just a couple local teams went to extra time. I had so much fun. There was a couple people from like the Red Bull supporters groups that came down and were like that. They also support with FC Monmouth. It was just a lot of fun. One thing that I've noticed here is our good friends of One Knoxville will be in Garfield, New Jersey when they play Vistula Garfield on March 18th. So I'm gonna have to. I don't know if Suze is gonna skip that trip or not, but we'll see.
What would you say you most know about Garfield, New Jersey?
Not much.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, I know more. Like so, FC Motown is hosting Hartford Athletic. I know a whole lot more about that area.
I have never heard of Garfield, New Jersey. That's why I asked.
Lasagna. You think they like lasagna?
Do you think they like lasagna?
That's
a good one. Richmond are playing Northern Virginia, so a nice local game. Fialense, which is one of the amateur sides that's done really well out of Western Massachusetts, they'll play against Rhode Island, who of course made a deep run in the USL Championship playoffs. So that one will be really, really fun. Westchester United, which is one of the clubs out in the Philadelphia area that we talked with Matt Freeze on this show. There's like this crazy generation of goalkeepers who are all from there. Zach Steffen, Matt Freeze, AJ Marcucci, I think John McCarthy as well. They're all from that area, and a lot of them came through the Westchester United club. So that's a cool one that we'll see going. Asheville City against Greenville Triumph. Love to see that. Would love to make a trip up to Asheville. I hear it's one of the coolest cities in the country. Have not been yet. So yeah, a lot of fun ones. One to note, Hickory FC, who went undefeated in NPSL, are not eligible for this. They are playing in a different competition. So they've been replaced and they will not be in this tournament. Okay. Last thing to close on. We got a couple of questions about USL structure. We got a couple of questions about League One, the Champo, and Prem, the three biggest leagues in the world, as we get official confirmation. The USL has named their what would be new Division One, which would be their first division league, the Premier, which is shocking after they renamed USL to USL Championship to prove it was the second division, and then USL League One in the third division. Because as you know, the average sports fans who's not super locked in, when they hear the phrase one, they think three immediately. So you got to name your third division league League One. You've got to name your second division league Championship. And now they've named the first division after the Premier League. And I'm just going to say, as I've been saying it for 5 to 10 years now, it's stupid, it's annoying, and it's miserable. Then we got questions about, oh, well, what do you think about the format and all that? We don't really know anything. It just says that there'll be single tables and that potentially they will launch. That's all we know. I would say this is as guaranteed as me finishing a full marathon. So I can give you a plan for 2028 for me to complete a 1 hour and 17-minute marathon. And then my plan after that is to continue. But basically it says USL Championship will continue as it is. Balanced schedule. Well, I guess not as it is. It will be a balanced schedule across the nation. And then this USL Premier would be the same as well. And then Division 3, which is USL League One, there's no specifics around it. I think we've said this. This feels less substantial than even the MLS season schedule change, which feels like it's closer, even though that one's not fully fixed. This is a lot of this is a hope. We hope to do this. But right now we're watching a league that doesn't have a workforce because they don't have an agreed upon CBA and they don't really have a clear roadmap to growth and building for the future. This feels very pie in the sky of we could put together a PR release and have a plan. Nothing in here is specific. It doesn't tell you how many teams get relegated, how it will be done, how the point system will be. Is it relegations every year? Is it like Mexico where it's a formula over 3 years? Is there a playoff to get into the next league? We don't learn any of that from this at all. But we got a bunch of questions about it, so we could touch on it. And I think we could dig in a little bit deeper as time goes along, and we can reach out to some people maybe and do some specials about it. Tom, before I let you go, any breaking news?
No, I'm just disappointed you didn't make the joke about what else that they could have named the first division.
Well, it could be the Champions League, could be Ligue 1, it could be the Bundesliga.
Barclays.
I did leave. I wrote that down and I didn't even put it in.
I tried to tee you up and not take
you did try and tee me up.
Somebody has it.
Well, I wouldn't say that this was our greatest performance of our careers. So maybe we'll just roll out of here. Big episode of Soccer Wiser coming on Thursday. So if we're not on our game, we're going to be pummeled by Bobby and Doyle. We've got the over-under specials coming early next week with Matt Doyle. We've got our season previews coming with a lot of local podcasts as well. So thank you to all of you for listening. Thank you to everyone who's here live in the chat. We'll talk to you again very, very soon.